What's going on, motivators? We got another video. We got to talk about last night gubernatorial debate in California. Let's get into this.
Of roadside testing becomes standard practice across California, and what should happen to drivers if they do fail? You have 60 seconds.
Well, we have to first off acknowledge that we actually do have rules and we actually do have laws. And if they are not abiding by those laws and California is giving them driver's licenses when they do not qualify for those driver's licenses and we're sending them out onto the streets, we also have seen several horrific accidents that were attributed to people that...
Simple. Follow rules and regulations. If you're in a country and don't deserve a driver's license, you don't get one. Common sense approach. To become a United States citizen, you gotta learn how to read. English, that is. Learn the language. You can speak your language too, but adopt the American values and their ways.
Of the California governor is to protect Californians. And right now, that includes protecting them from Donald Trump. Protecting Californians also includes enforcing traffic laws. And we've seen sometimes a need for oversight in California. For example,
a need for oversight. People are getting killed because you have drivers who do not belong on the road because they were illegally, and they still give them licenses. And we can't just put this around the border of just saying California, because we know United States is an intersecting country. So you in California, you could move to Arizona, you could move all the way to Florida, which one of the guys who killed the personnel in Florida came from California. These things matters.
we have seen that the Department of Motor Vehicles was not enforcing rules around DUIs and drivers who had convictions for that. I am stunned that Mr. Bianco would say to Black and brown Californians and immigrants who are being terrorized and racially profiled that you have to get over racism. It's not something that you get.
Wow, this is amazing. We cannot just look at two different things. You cannot drive if you're not rated to be in the country and drive and still have a soft spot for immigration. Why can't those two things be separate? And it's immigrants versus illegal immigrants. Why can't those two things ever be separate? They gotta be just one big jumble up type thing to talk about. Illegals should not be driving, and most of them are driving with suspended stuff where they had bad issues in their own country. And now they're going to kill American citizens because of the way that they drive, because they're not following the rules and regulations of the road.
Over. It's something that you fight. And if he doesn't understand the importance of that, he has no business representing a state with the diversity of California.
Ms. Porter, thank you very much.
Katie Porter should be ashamed of herself. You're running for governor. Again, this is California, so I wouldn't really say too much about this. But a common sense approach would be that, okay, it does make sense. Let's make sure that we put proper rules, enforcements, so that this doesn't happen again.
Mr. Bianco, I'll give you 15 seconds to respond.
Yeah, again, that's not even close to what I said. What I said is we're Californians, and I'm speaking for them, especially from law enforcement. When I deal with persons of color every single day, Californians are absolutely sick and tired of our politicians making race the basis of everything. It is not. And this racial divide that they are pushing between law enforcement and the public, or Democrat and Republican, absolutely has to stop. And I'm telling you, we are sick of it.
I agree. Everything doesn't have to be about race. If you commit a crime, you commit a crime. The crime should be first before we check the color of the content of your skin. But Democrats are always in reverse. They're going to watch the color of your skin and then they're going to make a decision. This is absurdity.
Should the CHP be giving English proficiency tests to truck drivers? And if not, would you as governor push back against the Trump administration on this policy? You have 60 seconds.
I would definitely push back on the Trump administration.
Wow. Why would you not push back on the Trump administration? It's America after all. Why would you not give an English proficiency exam so you can ensure whomever who is coming in here or driving, they understand the road rules? These people make me sick. This is how we have the things that we have it right now with accidents, because you have drivers who don't understand what's going on.
And again, a reckless policy. I would make sure that that officer understands that he cannot discriminate against any driver without having a basis to do so. I understand.
So now having a driver's license is racist. Enforcing the road rules are racist. If someone is not following the rules and regulation and they get pulled over, they didn't get pulled over by breaking the rules. They get pulled over because of the color of their skin. These people are sick, and this is what we do. We vote for these people over and over, not me individually, but the people who vote for these people keep doing the same stuff over and over again, and this is what you get. People who are not thinking logical. They're thinking more racial based than logically.
Understood a little bit of what that individual was trying to say. I couldn't see the signs, but it certainly sounded like he was trying to describe what that particular sign was trying to represent. And so we have to be very careful that we're not profiling consumers in California, drivers in California. It is against the law. And our police officers.
These people make me sick. To uphold the law now, it means that you're profiling. To uphold the law means that you are profiling. Make those things make sense. I swear the people who are in power nowadays, they're idiots. And this is why the country is going down the toilet. Because you have people who wants to be in power or they are in power already, and their decision making have gone down the drain. It's to become politician and all rationality goes outside the window.
Everyone he pulls over to explain those road signs, or is he asking only people who look like me? And if he's doing that, then he's violating the law.
This is so comical. This is so comical. This is comical. These people, I'm telling you, until a tragedy hits one of those people at their home or somewhere close to them, they will never change their ways. They will never change their ways. Rules for D, not for me, right?
I want to clarify, do you think CHP should be giving English proficiency tests?
As far as I know, the Academy does not train CHP officers to be giving English proficiency exams. So that officer...
Shame, 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 shame.
So I've discussed this with someone called Marcus Coleman from Bakersfield. His beautiful daughter, Delilah, was put into a coma by someone driving a truck. An illegal immigrant, didn't speak English, and his daughter now disabled for life. That's what we're dealing with here. It is completely ridiculous that we have people driving on our roads who can't understand road signs and can't speak English. So, yes, of course.
Again, this is what I'm talking about. Common sense. It doesn't matter because you're running for politician, you lose sight of what matters. What matters are the constituents, the people, family members, friends. It may not happen to you, but guess what? It happens to someone else's. Someone else's kid is out there. Common sense approach. As a politician, you shouldn't have to be thinking about illegal immigrants before you think about your constituents. Your constituents always comes first, and then you try to help others. Because the same is happening in their own country. If you were to go to their country, they would never put a traveler first. They're going to take the constituents' concern first and yours second. It only makes sense. This is common sense.
And will probably lose their jobs. You have 60 seconds.
Look, I agree with what was said, which is we don't know the context of this stop. But what I can say is this: racial profiling is illegal. And in fact, picking on people based on the color of their skin in the state of California is illegal.
All right, Tom Tsai is an idiot. Again, way to dodge the question. He's an idiot. Way to dodge the question and go straight into racial. These people, we just found out that the SPLC was rigging the game and making people fight against each other. And there you have Tom Steyer talking about the same thing again. It's all about race related. So now he's trying to build this so that he will have a little coalition around him so that they were going to vote for him. It has nothing to do with that. If you don't create a problem, guess what? The police officers on the street, they now won't have to look for the problem that you've created. You've given illegal licenses. So they're driving and killing and harming innocent civilians. So guess what they're doing in the streets now? They're stopping people when it comes to truck drivers and verify you understand the ins and outs.
No, Frank, the right answer here is clearly to hold the DMV accountable for ensuring that every driver on our roadway meets the...
Again, Democrats make me sick. They're embarrassing the crap out of themselves right now. They cannot answer a straightforward question. Why is that? Why is that Democrat could never answer a straightforward question? Is it illegal, or would you change the rules that everyone who is getting a driver's test should follow a standardized portion as far as being able to speak English? Plain and simple. Raise my hand up, yes. Why is that such a hard question to answer?
Question to you, you have 30 seconds.
No, we cannot keep going in this direction with Democrats constantly going for their insatiable appetite for more and more taxes for their bottomless money pit. And now the mileage tax, they want to track you everywhere you drive. No, I would veto that. We need to cut spending and cut taxes so that we can give...
Democrats want a mileage tax. America, they're going to tax you out of existence. Eventually, everything you work for, it might as well just go back to the Democrat cities. They want to tax you for everything that you do inside of the state or the cities.
Homelessness. What letter grade would you give him on handling the issue, and what, if anything, would you do differently? Ms. Porter, we're going to begin with you. You recently gave the governor a solid A- when it comes to his overall job performance. What grade would you give him on homelessness, and what, if anything, would you do differently? You have 60 seconds.
I'm a notoriously tough grader, but I would probably give him a B on homelessness. I don't think this has been an easy problem to solve, but I do give him a lot of credit for calling attention to the problem when he campaigned.
Frank, I would say that the governor has made efforts. We've seen him come down to Los Angeles, actually go out and try to clean some of the streets. On effort, I would give him an A. Here's what I would do that's different, though. I would focus on accountability. I would make sure...
A B and an A so far. An A. Homelessness have increased. These people are insane. Karen Bass just started. She spent $300 million. And 40% of the people went back to the street. These people are wasteful spending. I could see there's a kickback going back in his pocket that he's going to give an A. Ever since Democrats been in power for 14 years, homelessness has increased, not gotten better.
I'd love to be in your class, Katie, if you get a B for what Gavin Newsom's done on homelessness. My goodness, of course it's an F. It shames our state, the situation with homelessness. We have about 10% of the US population, around 50% of the country's homeless population.
And what, if anything, would you do differently? You have 60 seconds.
So I'd give the governor a B- on this. And I want to start with a simple statement, which is no one gets well on the street.
So there you have it. At the end of the day, both of the Republican gives F. The Democrat think that there's a wonderful job being done. And again, we could see right here, the numbers is still up from 2019 to 2026. And they're saying some changes have happened. But again, the same numbers that they're touting, they had a 6% decrease. They have really proven that there is no 6% decrease because they're touting numbers from their little project where they spent $300 million, where 40% of the people went back to the street. They know that they're lying. And the Democrats on this panel should be ashamed of themselves trying to run for governor. The two strongest ones, Katie Porter and Xavier, they both suck. They're giving very, very mediocre answers to beat the top candidate. After Swalwell left, this thing is falling in disarray. I don't think anyone's going to vote for the Democrats. But anyway, let me know what you think inside the comments. All right, motivators, if you enjoy what you've seen and heard, please like, comment, share, but most importantly, subscribe to A Black Veteran's Perspective. Stay motivated.